When we're looking to improve shoulder mobility, it's important to acknowledge what actually goes into shoulder mobility. More often than not, when people are trying to address their shoulder mobility, they often are doing internal and external rotation of their upper arm, their shoulder, but there's often little regard for how well does their spine move and how well does their scapula move. So when we're addressing shoulder mobility, we work from the inside out so that we can ensure that there's no stone that's unturned. So working from the inside out would include addressing our spine, ensuring that it can flex, we can create curvature of our spine, it can extend, and it can rotate. When we look at the scapula, it's important to see, can the scapula protract, can it open, can it retract and pull back, can it depress and pull down, can it elevate and go up, and can it upward and downward rotate. And the next domino that would fall after the first two, being the spine and the scapula, is the shoulder itself. How well can it internally and externally rotate? For this particular video with one of my coworkers, Sean, we did a shoulder mobility workout that started with the spine and the scapula. We did that in an effort to prime the structures, to prime the tissue in the structures that ultimately will facilitate a better moving shoulder. So if you are somebody who's watching this eccentric loading video and you already understand how does the spine influence the scapula, how does the scapula influence the actual shoulder, you should probably skip ahead then to about the 10-minute mark in this video, because the first 10 minutes of the video we are going over how does the thoracic spine function with flexion, extension, rotation, as well as how does the scapula move, and we did a series of thoracic spine cars and scapula cars. So if you don't have any interest in watching the spine and scapula component of this video, I encourage you to skip to the 10-minute mark and we can go straight into eccentric loading, internal and external rotation. Every time we assess someone for shoulder mobility, we look at how well does their spine move, how well does the scapula move, and then we work on the shoulder. We work from the inside out. All the time when someone has shoulder mobility issues, they're doing like rotation, right? External rotation, internal rotation. That's important, there's merit to that, but if they don't address how well their spine moves, if they don't address how well their scapula moves, their shoulder is inherently gonna have movement limitation. So you and I are gonna do a thoracic spine car. So you see us often doing spine cars like this. We're gonna have you doing it kneeling, because when you do it kneeling, you're gonna get way more movement at your thoracic spine rather than your lumbar spine, okay? Like I'm not trying to work your lower back, I'm trying to work your upper back. So what you're gonna do is hug yourself. I want you to find thoracic extension. So think chest up, chest up, chest up. Breathe into that. So right now, you're kind of exploring what range of motion you have. Do you feel your thoracic extensors contracting? You feel like a sensation of squeezing from here? I do. Squeeze them harder, chest up higher. You see how you're contracting more there? Mm-hmm. You're learning to contract your thoracic spine extensors. Now, without moving anything else, maintain extension. Okay. I want you to twist towards me very slowly. You should feel the spine now rotating through your thoracic spine, and you're maintaining extension. Now think about pouring water out of your ear and you're laterally bending to the side. And you should feel like this portion kind of pulling open, right? Like a lengthening sensation. Yep. Now without moving, put your head down and begin folding up and flex your spine. So think about curving over. Yes. And you should feel like your stomach tightening. Mm-hmm. You should feel this stuff pulling. And then as you curve, you're gonna go ahead and come forward like this. Okay, and so now pause. So you're in thoracic flexion. You should feel curvature through your upper back. Okay. Now continue to your left, and you're gonna feel an end point like right about there-ish. Yep. Now pour water out of your ear, and you're laterally bending. And you should feel this stuff beginning to pull open. Mm-hmm. And then begin extending, chest up, and fire your thoracic extensors. So chest up, bring the shoulder back, extend the spine, big deep breath there, stay in extension, just try to relax. Breathing and spine training go very much hand in hand because your rib cage can't expand. If you can take a big inhale in this range of motion, your spine will benefit from it, okay? So take a big deep breath, get a little bit deeper into it. You're gonna go reverse now. Slowly twist, feel the end of spine rotation, which is like right about there-ish, right? Now water out of your ear again, and you should feel this side beginning to pull open. Find the end of the lateral bend right about there. Now put your head down and begin folding your spine up, tighten your stomach, and you're creating as much curvature here as you can, like your discs are pulling apart. And then bring your right shoulder to me, but stay folded. So now pause. Without putting your head up, can you push this up into me more? Yes, you see how you created a little bit more curvature there? That pulling of the thoracic spine, I'm just trying to get you to lengthen tissue. That's all it is. Now rotate back to me slowly, all the way, and you feel your end point where this is pulling, and then you're gonna again pour water out of your ear. Water out of the ear, water out of the ear. You feel the end of the lateral bend, and now extend the spine. So chest up, chest up, chest up. Feel your thoracic extensors, the stuff that extends your thoracic spine. So chest up now, lean back to me. Imagine you're playing limbo with my hand here. More, 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 more. Chest up, bring the shoulder back a little bit more, right there. Hold it. Big deep breath. Do you feel extension all the way through here? Okay, take another big deep breath. You're gonna spend time at the end range of motion in an effort to kind of like get comfortable there, right? This is territory that you're not super familiar with. That's kind of the point. And relax it. Okay, so when someone does spine cars, controlled articular rotations for their spine, when they do it standing, they're gonna get a lot more movement at their lower back. That's not wrong or bad, it's just different, right? If someone has lower back issues, you're gonna do deadlifts, it's very low back heavy, you do it standing. If we're sitting and doing it, the position I'm in kind of locks my low back down, and I'm gonna get way more movement at my upper back, which is all the stuff that's gonna contribute to your shoulder mobility. Make sense? We did a controlled articular rotation for your spine. You basically just explored what range of motion your spine has available. And then if you were like, oh, I'm really sticky in one area, our other exercises would complement that. The scapula is no different. So we're gonna do a scapula car. For the scapula car, I want you to see how I am moving my shoulder blades independently of everything else on my body. Okay, so some tendencies people have is instead of protraction, you see how I'm opening my shoulder blades up? Some people have a tendency to flex their spine. You need to separate your spine from your scap. Some people, when they retract, instead of this, they do this, right? They're like almost doing a push-up, they're bending the elbow. Elbows straight, everything's locked, shoulder blades together, shrug them up, open them up, pull them down, circular motion. You could even do it in reverse, okay? We could do this in a lot of different ways. You could do it with your arms here, you could do it with your arms here. We have a whole other video that kind of pulls that apart. So go ahead and think about squeezing your shoulder blades together. So sink your chest to the floor, okay, right there. Now can you pull your shoulder blades down into your back pocket? So that's depression. You see the elbows want to move there? So straighten the elbows, reset right there. Can you pull them into your back pocket without the elbows moving? So you hadn't, that's up, now pull them down. That right there, yes. Now can you pull your shoulder blades open by pushing the floor away from you? So now that's more retraction. Can you do more protraction? So push away from you. So yes, that right there, more. More of that. Do you kind of feel them gliding open right here? Can you do a little bit more of that? Do you feel your chest squeezing? That's what I want. So if your shoulder blades are opened, and you feel your chest squeezing, you're on the right track, right? That's exactly what I want. Okay. Now shrug them up to your ears, your shoulder blades. Yeah, there you go, man, right there. So you feel elevation, right? Now pull them together and sink your chest down to the floor. Yep, but the elbows stay straight. Right there, that's your retraction. Now pull them down to press them. Nope, pull them into your back pockets. Yes, that right there, you had it, right there. That right there, that right there. Give me a little bit more. A little bit more. You see how hard that is for you? So if you struggle with a depression, almost always our shoulders are gonna have limitations. Go ahead and open up and push the floor away from you. So protract, feel your chest squeeze. Think about squeezing your pecs and opening all this up. You kind of feel them glide around your rib cage. You feel the squeeze here. Now shrug them up to your ears again. Both shoulder blades. Yep, right there. More, right there. Now pull them together. Retract them. Beautiful. Just maintain a consistent breath through this. Depress the scapula. So pull them into your back pockets again. That right there. So for you, the depression's the hardest corner, right? You can feel it, you can see it, it's fine. Expose it, right? We are training the skill of depressing your scapula. Yeah, right there. Then pull them together. Retract. Nope, not up. Together. That's hard as hell, isn't it? So take your time. Think about pulling them into your back pocket. That right there, you see how you depressed them? Now open them up from there. Yeah, there you go, man. Takes a minute, right? And you start to develop that awareness. Open them up a little bit more. Push the floor away from you, man. Open them up. Open them up and relax it. Dude, you were sweating so much from that. Bro. Like your shoulder blades do more than this. They go up, they go open, they go down, right? There's a lot of range of motion there, and that's ultimately what creates movement at your shoulder too. So we're gonna do shoulders next, right? We talked about working from the inside out, and when we do shoulder mobility or any type of upper body training, we do the spine, we do the scapula, then we work on the shoulder. The first domino has to fall. If your spine moves well, the scapula can move well. If the scapula moves well, the shoulder can move better. So we're kind of ensuring that there's no stone that's unturned, right? For your shoulder, you'll see a lot of people doing like sleeper stretches to stretch internal rotation. You'll see people working external rotation. We're gonna do that, but we're gonna use a dumbbell to do eccentric loading. Okay. And eccentric loading obviously is negatives. The negatives are gonna pull you into range of motion that you otherwise can't get to. Does that make sense? You're kind of working into new space. Cool. So what I'm gonna have you do is lay on your side, face this way. Okay. We're doing internal rotation first because internal rotation is the deepest portion of your shoulder. I want your head resting on this block because I don't want any compensations coming from your neck or anything. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna have a dumbbell in your hand. This is pretty heavy, but you're a strong guy, you're a big guy. So what I want you to do is you're gonna let your arm slowly drop towards this hand, okay, and you're gonna let your arm internally rotate. As you do this, you're gonna feel your spine wanting to move. Mm-hmm. I want you to let your arm come forward. Do you feel a stretch in the backside of your shoulder here? Mm-hmm. Keep going, let the weight pull you. Breathe into it, breathe into it, breathe into it, and then bring your hand back to me. So the focus isn't the wrist. I don't want to see this going on. Okay. This stays completely neutral, okay? So let your hand come down to the floor. You feel the upper arm, your humerus, internally rotating. Mm-hmm. Do you feel a stretch in the back of your shoulder? Mm-hmm. You have no pinching in the front side? Nope. Okay, take a big deep breath, and you're focusing on the negative, right? The dumbbell is going to the floor, and you're resisting it, and you feel the weight pulling you into a passive range, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if I were to pull your hand inward like this, do you feel a bigger stretch? Mm-hmm. Okay, I want you maintaining a 90-degree angle at your elbow. Okay. You have a bit of a tendency to let your arms sway away from you, mm-hmm, and that changes the leverage point at the joint. So now your arm's gonna come back. So the focus coming back is not important to me. You're just resetting the rep, right? Okay. The focus for you here is using the weight to pull you into new range. And you see how you're already getting a little bit deeper than when you started, mm-hmm, and you're like your third rep in, right? So take a big deep breath and then squeeze your arm, flex your bicep, tricep, and then rotate back to your starting point. Beautiful. And then rotate back down. So we primed your spine, we primed your scapula, and now you're using a dumbbell to load you into shoulder internal rotation. Beautiful. Beautiful. You feel the stretch in the backside of your capsule, mm-hmm, and then rotate back to me. Bring your whole hand back to me. Watch this upper arm right here, and then go back down again. Don't sway towards my hand. Here, I'm giving you guardrails here. Think of it like that. Good. Don't let your spine tilt away. Beautiful. Hand down, hand down. Bring your hand towards you more. Yeah, man. There you go. Breathe. You see how uncomfortable that is? Mm-hmm. Your body looks for the path of least resistance, right? 100%. Least resistance is the arm to kind of drift away and then rotate back to me. And you're already getting deeper than when we started, okay? 100%. Go ahead and go again. Take your time with it. Beautiful. Keep going down. Yeah, man, good job. Keep going. Keep going. And then externally rotate out of that. Beautiful. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Awesome. And then back down. Take your time with it. Bring your hand in more. Bring your hand in more. Yeah, man. Embrace that uncomfortable position, right? Mm-hmm. Every part of your body wants to shy away from that area, especially if you have history here and you have a lot of debt. You got to pay off that debt as efficiently as you can. And then rotate back to me. Beautiful. And then back down. How much fatigue is setting in here on the shoulder?
It's getting tired.
It's getting tired? Mm-hmm. Okay, give me a couple more. We're just gonna do this one round here, low volume. Get lower, get lower, get lower. Now hold that position. Take a big deep breath and get comfortable there. And now go deeper. You feel a deeper stretch. Mm-hmm. Last one, take a big deep breath there. You feel the backside of the shoulder stretching. Mm-hmm. Hold, relax there, get comfortable. Show your body it's a safe space, right? If you're shallow breathing, hyperventilating, you're not gonna get comfortable there. Your nervous system is not gonna grant you that range of motion. Bring your hand back to me. Now, if you wanted, depending on how tight your shoulder is, you could go the other direction. So now come to me, but don't let your wrist extend. You're gonna feel yourself cheating and dumping into extension. Keep your wrist flexed a little bit more. Now you're doing external rotation. Do you kind of see how that's working? Mm-hmm. So you're ultimately training the rotation with your arm in front of you, right? And you can do the same thing out here. You can do the same thing up here. You see how your wrists can't really touch the floor? You lack external rotation. This shouldn't be that hard. Like your hands should be able to touch the floor.
Sure.
You're now using a weight to get you there. This is gonna take some time, right? But the idea is that each time you do it, you're a little bit more tolerant of it. Keep your spine still, keep your spine still, keep your head still, and then come back up. Rotate back up. Is it a little too heavy for you?
No.
No? Okay.
It feels good.
It should feel like a healthy stretch.
Yeah.
And so you get some people in here who have all sorts of messed up shoulders and they can't even find a good stretch because their shoulder's so screwed.
Sure.
And then their shoulder is untrainable.
Sure.
And I talked about that with my consultation I just had, where like people who have pain can't train the way I want them to train, and then their productivity's low.
Sure.
If you're just getting good high quality stretching and like stimulus, then you're able to train your shoulder and then you're actually able to reap benefits of like the progress, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So as long as it feels healthy, keep rolling with it. So again, the wrist is gonna wanna dump. Try to keep this totally neutral because I don't want the wrist cheating. All the work is coming from here. Keep the wrist flexed, keep the wrist flexed. 90 degrees at the elbow. And you feel the front side kind of pulling open versus before you felt the back side. And now squeeze your bicep and tricep and then internally rotate out of that. So come up, come up, come up, come up, come up. Don't tilt away. You're gonna feel yourself kind of compensating to make it easier, right? Let's do 3 or 4 more here and then I'll show you one more position. We can call it a day. Rotate, rotate. Beautiful, you feel front side stretching of the shoulder, the arm, you feel it more when you're here. Again, that 90-degree angle is very important. That doesn't get discussed a lot. And then come back up. Beautiful, and this is strength training too. You know, if it's hard and you're building strength over time in rotation, if your arm can rotate with a 15 or 20 pound dumbbell, think about how strong you'll be on other exercises, you know what I mean? So like this is strength training too. People kind of misconstrued it as just range of motion. And it's like, no, if you move better, it's easier to get stronger. Does that make sense? And so like you can do all sorts of stretching for like a sleeper stretch and do isometrics like pails and rails that like Arkell would have you do, right? And like that has merit. It's just a different tool, right? And there's that phrase, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. Like you have like several ways to do something. You can do internal rotation with passive stretching, isometrics, or you can do eccentrics, right? And the negative, I like the negative because it's a little bit simpler for someone to understand.
Sure.
When you tell someone to push up and pull away and all that stuff, it gets a little convoluted.
Sure.
So eccentric loading is another way to expand workspace in your shoulder. We did it with your arm here, internal, external rotation. I'm gonna have you lay on your back and you're gonna do it with your arm to your side. Okay. So first you were up here, now we're going to this zone. Okay. And so again, because your shoulder is like a ball and socket joint, there's so much variability that you can have with it. One thing you're gonna find here when you internally rotate is this is gonna happen. Your shoulder blade's gonna hike up. Do not let your shoulder blade hike up, even if that means your fist gets lower to the ground. Like I don't want you getting your fist to the ground at the expense of this coming up. Exactly, okay? So you're gonna have to be very true with it. If that means I lighten the weight, that's fine, totally okay. So what I want you doing is being mindful of your spine, that it's not like rising up too much, your chest isn't rising up. Squeeze your arm, your bicep and tricep, flex both. This is what I want you doing, is like this. Tensing your arm. Now with that tension, let your arm come to the floor, but maintain this 90-degree angle. Do you feel the back of your shoulder beginning to stretch? Now, do you feel your hand coming out to your right a little bit?
Yep.
Now come down to the floor. You feel a bigger stretch. Now when you're at the stretch and you feel the shoulder blade wanting to hike up to your ear, come back to me. And then go back external rotation, slowly the other way. Squeeze your arm, keep the wrist flexed, all those principles still apply. And as you come back, do not let this rise. Good, breathe, man. You feel this front side opening up. Now squeeze your arm and then internally rotate out of that. Beautiful, a clean pivot, and we're moving bones in isolation. When was the last time you heard someone talk about bones in the gym? Dude, it's always muscles.
It's always
Make the bone move by itself. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's a lot of value. Like if bones move well, everything moves well. Watch the shoulder blade. Yep, wrist is perfect. You feel the back side of your shoulder capsule beginning to stretch, right? It's lengthening. Minimal hiking here. And then squeeze your upper arm and then rotate your humerus. Make this bone move in isolation and then contract all the tissue around it. Bring it back the other way. Back to external, yep, watch the wrist. You're doing a very good job keeping this neutral. No flexion or extension going on there. Keep squeezing, feel the front side now lengthening. You kind of see how we're alternating sides, right? First the front side's pulling, you feel the stretch, then squeeze out of external rotation and internally rotate. You're pivoting this arm again, and then you're coming back forward. Beautiful. You see how the hand's drifting out? For the viewer's sake, you see how his wrist is outside of his elbow. We want that 90-degree angle as best that we can. Watch the scapula. Yep, keep that shoulder blade down. You feel this kind of gliding inward. A bigger stretch through here, I imagine. You see what I'm talking about? You see how it's a subtle change, right? Like people watching the video could probably see that I moved you like an inch, but it doesn't seem significant. It is significant, right? And then contract back up, squeeze, get a better grip on that dumbbell. Yep. Let's do like 2, 3 more here. All the way back, all the way back. More like back here, again, the 90-degree angle. Your arm is drifting away from your elbow. You feel this stuff lengthening. Keep contracting and then come back up. Beautiful. Maintain that 90 degrees as best you can. You're doing a very good job not moving your neck or anything too. If you have to reset your grip, by all means, squeeze the upper arm. Feel the back side of the shoulder now lengthening, right? No pinching on the front side. You see how we're alternating front to back of the shoulder capsule. Yep. And it feels similar to when you lay it on your side, but it's like a different portion of pause. Do you feel that more? Do you see the difference there? Leverage points, man, that's a really big deal. And you're maintaining the 90-degree angle better. Do you feel a higher quality stretch there? Oh yeah. And if you tell me, it's okay if this isn't true, do you feel a better stretch there? You see how you actually overcompensated here, right? And now you're in like an acute angle, less than 90 degrees. Now come back up. You see how much you're shaking there as well. Makes a big difference, and you don't even realize it, but like as you're doing it, you're like slowly coming here, you're slowly coming there.
I can feel it drifting when you're like sliding.
That 90-degree angle is everything, and it's the way the leverage points work, and that allows you to stack the joints so that the force goes to the right areas in a sense. As soon as you have it where you're like out here, you lost the leverage that on the right tissue. I have a way better stretch here on the back side of my shoulder than if I'm out here, right? When I'm back here, your arm was like inward like this. As soon as I pulled you out, you're like, holy cow, I got the right stretch. It's because the dumbbell had the leverage to pull you in the right positioning. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's just one of those things though that like when someone lacks mobility, they lack the body awareness. And I keep talking about like physical literacy. Do they have a body awareness to execute exercise? You have a trainer, that's like where the value is. Like, do you notice that? No, I don't, but now I do. So now when they do it on their own, they can get more out of it, right? And it compounds over time, it's a snowball.
I mean, my shoulder feels better.
It should feel really good. I mean, and you did one session, right?
Bro, like legit.
We would follow that up with shoulder cars. Let's go and have you stand up, do 1 round of shoulder cars. When we do shoulder cars, the goal is independent movement of the upper arm relative to everything else. So when you lift up, I don't want to see your chest rise. When you start reaching behind you, I don't want to see you twisting. So you're going to reach up to about like there. That's your block. Elbow straight. Start reaching behind you and start twisting your arm inward like this. But don't twist your whole body. So you're reaching behind you, you're reaching behind you, you're reaching behind you slowly. I'm going to guide you through it. You see how you're twisting? Don't twist. Keep that shoulder where it is. Slow. More. Beautiful. More. Beautiful, more. And you're gonna go all the way until your palm is facing out like this, okay? Where you're fully internally rotated at the upper arm. You're in this position, start reaching backwards, but keep your palm out. Do you feel that block in shoulder extension? That's your cue. Start externally rotating. And as you externally rotate, this upper arm is swiveling, this bone is what's moving, and you're gonna keep externally rotating as you go all the way up, overhead through here. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Beautiful, keep that elbow straight. Now reach back up again. You're gonna feel that block right about there-ish. Start reaching behind you towards our mat and internally rotate. Yes. Yes. Keep going. Keep going. You see how your hands are contorting? Make a fist and then start reaching. Keep going. Slowly. Pause here. More internal rotation. Other way. Yeah, man. Yeah. Keep reaching for me. Keep reaching for me. You see how you're leaning forward a little bit? Just be aware of it. Just be aware of it. It's okay. It's your first time doing it really strict, so it's all good. More internal, palm out. and you're gonna finish with yourself all the way right here. Part of it is you're so stiff that you feel kind of lost there. Think about it, if your capsule doesn't move, your shoulder capsule, right, like your actual shoulder joint, there's a lack of mind-body awareness there, mind-body connection, right? Yeah, totally, right? And like, there's a phrase that your neurology is disconnected from biology. Okay, your system lost it. If you don't use it, you lose it. You have injury, a lot of debt on a joint, you're gonna lose it. That's why you feel kind of lost, and you're like, I don't know what you mean by rotating. If you don't have internal rotation there, it's gonna feel like a total foreign concept, right? Like you're not gonna know how to move there, right?
Much.
So that's why it feels kind of like forced. I want you to learn to move your shoulder, right? You're developing literacy. You're basically learning how to read again, but physical literacy. Okay.